Hi students, this is Sivya, lecturer in physics in BRRR and GKR Chambers Degree College, Palakal. Students, I hope you understand all the topics I covered in previous classes. Next, we go through the common mode rejection ratio, slew rate and virtual ground concepts are the last three topics in operational amplifiers. First, we go to the common mode rejection ratio. We already know that what is meant by common mode. Common mode is nothing but when two inverting and non-inverting input terminals given to same voltage sources, then the output is 0 in ideal case, but in practical case it shows some output voltage. In case of common mode signals, the op amp rejects the common mode signals, nothing but noise signals. Actually the common signals are nothing but noise signals. For inverting and non-inverting input terminals, we are giving some input signal. This input signal is added to the noise signal. This noise is common to inverting and non-inverting terminals. This can be reduced by using common mode rejection ratio. When same signals are applied to the both input terminals is called common mode signal. The ability of op amp is to suppress common mode signals, and it is expressed in terms of its common mode rejection ratio. Mathematically, common mode rejection ratio is given by the relation common mode rejection ratio rho is equal to differential voltage gain to the common mode gain. Differential voltage gain is represented with a letter AD and common mode gain is represented with a letter AC. Here rho is equal to AD by AC. The differential voltage gain AD is the gain of the op amp when two different voltages are applied at the two inputs, nothing but inverting and non-inverting inputs. And the common mode gain voltage gain AC is the gain of the op amp when the two input terminals of op amps are applied with the same voltage from the same source. The differential gain is obtained when two different input voltage sources are applied, and the common mode gain is obtained when inverting and non-inverting terminals are applied to the same voltage source. Right? Generally, the common mode voltage gain is very small. The common mode voltage gain is very small because it takes the common voltage source, that is average of the voltage source taken across the input, and amplifies it and produces at the output terminal. Then the gain of the common mode signals is low, and the gain of differential gain is high. If the gain of the common mode signal is low, then the denominator value becomes negligible. If the denominator value becomes negligible, then the common mode rejection ratio becomes increases. Here they said generally the common mode voltage gain is very small, and the differential voltage gain is very large. Therefore, the common mode rejection ratio is very large. Ideally, an op amp has a zero common mode voltage gain, and hence common mode rejection ratio is infinity. For ideal case, if the input voltage source are same, then the output becomes 0. If the output becomes 0, then the denominator becomes 0. If the denominator becomes 0, then the common mode rejection ratio becomes infinity. For ideal op amp, the output voltage is V0 is equal to AD into VD. Here VD is nothing but difference of input voltage sources. Difference of input voltage sources, and AD is the differential gain of an op amp. AD, here AD is nothing but difference of gains at voltage source 2 and at voltage source 1. Nothing but 2 is nothing but non-inverting terminal and 1 is nothing but inverting terminal, where A1 is the gain given by the ratio of output voltage to the inverting input voltage source with non-inverting terminal is grounded. A2 is the gain given by the ratio of output voltage source to the non-inverting input voltage source when V1 is grounded. That means inverting voltage source is grounded. Next, in practical op amp, however, there exists a common mode signal given by Vc is the average of the two input voltage sources. That means V1 plus V2 by 2. Then the common mode gain is AC is equal to A1 plus A2 by 2. Here the op amp which shows the circuitry. Here V1 is the inverting voltage source and V2 is the non-inverting voltage source, and V0 is the output voltage source at the output terminal 6. Here V0 is equal to AD into VD is the differential voltage gain obtained at the output terminal, and VD is the difference of the two input voltage sources. When in case of common mode signals, inverting and non-inverting terminals are given to the same voltage source V1 and V2, then it shows the average, which takes average voltage source and produces common gain AC and common voltage VC. Hence, the output voltage of practical op amp is given by V0 is the summation of differential output voltage and common mode output voltage, nothing but AD VD and AC VC. Here we common the factor AD VD, then we produce the factor, multiplying factor 1 plus AC by AD into VC by VD. Here we know that according to the definition of common mode rejection ratio, the common mode rejection ratio defines the ratio of differential voltage gain to the common mode gain. Here we have the ratio, that is AC by AD. AC by AD is nothing but the reciprocal of common mode rejection ratio. AC by AD is nothing but the reciprocal of common mode rejection ratio. Then it can be replaced as 1 by rho. Then AD into VD by common factoring. Then we produce 1 plus 1 by rho into VC by VD. This is the equation relates output voltage with common mode rejection ratio. The relation between common mode rejection ratio and output voltage source is V0 is equal to AD VD into 1 plus 1 by rho into VC by VD. This is the relation between common mode rejection ratio and output voltage source. If the differential inputs are given at one time and common mode signals are applied another time, then it produces the relation as V0 is equal to AD VD into 1 plus 1 by rho into Vc by Vd. This is about the common mode rejection ratio. Our next concept is slew rate. Slew rate. We are already discussing about the slew rate. Slew rate is nothing but the maximum rate of change of output voltage with respect to time per unit interval of time. It is an important parameter because it limits the bandwidth for large signal. The slew rate limits the bandwidth of the large signal. Here the bandwidth ranges from 0 to infinity for ideal op amp. For practical op amp, its frequency bandwidth range is 1 MHz. Then the slew rate which limits the bandwidth range for large signals. It is defined as the slew rate is defined as the maximum rate of change of output voltage per unit time, and it is expressed in volts per microseconds. The slew rate is represented with a letter SR, which is the ratio of differential voltage gain to the change in time period at maximum, which is having a units of volts per microsecond. Slew rate indicates how fast the output of an op amp can changes in response to the change in input frequency. Slew rate is nothing but a change in output voltage with respect to the change in input voltage. The output is produced simultaneously for changing the input voltages. Okay. For example, the op amp 741 has a slew rate of 0.5 volts per microsecond. For example, we are considering the op amp 741 has a slew rate of 0.5 volts per microsecond. And its implication can be explained by considering the following figure. If we overdrive the op amp with the large The figure shows that overdrive the large step input, the output slew rate as shown in the figure. Initially, let us considering the IC741 having a slew rate of 0.5 volts per microsecond. If we overdrive the voltage, that means the voltage is overdrive from 0 to 10 volts suddenly, then the slew rate takes 20 microseconds here, which shows the slew rate, which is a 20 microseconds for change in voltage, input voltage from 0 to 10 volts suddenly, then the time taken for production of output is 20 microsecond. We are suddenly overdrive the input voltage, then the output takes 20 microseconds for producing the output. Overloading of op amp produces a slew rate limiting. Overloading of op amp produces a slew rate limiting. Slew rate limiting can occur even with the sinusoidal signals also. Slew rate limiting can occur even with the sinusoidal signals. The equation for input sinusoidal signal is taken as Vs for voltage source. Input voltage source Vs is taken as Vm sin omega t. With no slew rate limitations, the output voltage is V0 is equal to Vm into sin omega t. The rate of change of output voltage is nothing but slew rate. The rate of change of output voltage, the maximum rate of change of output voltage is nothing but slew rate. Then differentiating the output voltage source, then we get slew rate dV0 by dt, which will give the omega into Vm cos omega t. The differential formula for sin is cos for product omega t. We are differentiating with respect to the t, then we produces a constant omega into Vm cos omega t. The maximum rate of change of output occurs at the cos value becomes 1. When the cos value becomes 1, then dV0 by dt becomes maximum. In that case, dV0 by dt is nothing but slew rate. It produces, if cos becomes 1, then 1 multiplied by omega into Vm produces omega into Vm. Thus, the slew rate is represented with a letter S is equal to dV0 by dt at maximum produces omega into Vm. Here S is equal to omega is nothing but angular frequency, which is represented with a formula 2 pi f. F is here frequency, V is the voltage. Then S is equal to 2 pi f into Vm in volts per second. Actually, we are measuring the slew rate in volts per microseconds. Then this can be converted in microseconds as multiplying the equation with the 10 power minus 6 and dividing the same factor. Then we can produce slew rate S is equal to 2 pi f Vm into 10 power minus 6 volts per microsecond. This is the slew rate for IC 741 for sinusoidal signals. This is the concept of slew rate. Finally, what we can understand about that slew rate? Slew rate is nothing but a maximum rate of change of output voltage per unit time. That means the output produced by the input signal, this output simultaneously produced for changing input voltages. If once overdrive the input voltage, then it takes off 20 microseconds for production of output voltage. Okay. Next, our last concept, virtual ground. Here the diagram shows, the circuit diagram shows the inverting and non-inverting input terminals, and the output terminal is feedbacked to the input inverting terminal with a resistance, feedback resistance RF, and inverting input terminal is given to the voltage source V1 with respect to a resistor R1. Here voltage source applied 3 resistor at one terminal and another terminal is grounded, and non-inverting terminal is directly grounded, then V2 becomes 0, then there is no current flowing through the non-inverting terminal. If the output terminal is given to inverting terminal at point G, then that point we are earlier discussing in case of closed loop configuration, feedback point is nothing but summing point. Here this point act as a virtual ground. Virtual is nothing but imaginary. Ground means shorted. The point should be act as a 0 volts. The voltage at that point act as becomes 0. Here given that, let us explain the concept of virtual ground. When at any point of the circuit the potential becomes the same as the on the ground. At any point on the circuit, at that point the potential becomes the same as that on the ground. The ground potential is 0, then at any point on the circuit the potential becomes also 0. Then it does not given directly to the ground, but the point act as a 0 potential. Then it's virtually connected to the ground. That's why this point C is nothing but a virtual ground. Although physically no path for current from that point to ground actually exists, the point is set on ground potential. The point G is on the ground potential. How this point becomes act as a ground potential or 0 potential? Since we know that the input voltage is applied to the inverting terminal through a resistor R1. Here this for ideal case the input resistance becomes infinity. The characteristics of ideal amp, the input impedance is infinity. In that case, here we considering R1 is infinity, input resistance is infinity, then there is no allowance of current through the inverting terminal. If there is no allowance of current through the inverting terminal, then I1 is equal to I2. Here I1 is nothing but the current flows through the inverting terminal. I2 is already applied to the ground. There is no voltage source applied at the non-inverting terminal, then I2 becomes also 0. And I1, here I1, how to come I1? When the voltage source is applied, then the current flowing through a resistor is divided at point G. Sum of the current flowing through the feedback resistor and sum of the current flowing through the inverting terminal. If some fraction of output voltage is feedback to the resistance RF and added at a point G, then the voltages are same at inverting terminal and feedbacked voltage becomes same, or the algebraic sum of the voltages becomes 0. Then if the voltages are become 0, then the current flowing through the point becomes 0. Then there is no travel of current through that inverting terminal. That is I1 becomes 0. Here I1 and I2 simultaneously becomes 0. That means input current is equal to feedback current. For open loop gain is given by nothing but the ratio of output voltage to the difference of input voltage sources, V0 by V2 minus V1. Here V2 minus V1 is equal to V0 by A. For ideal characteristics, the open loop gain of op amp is infinity. Then the denominator becomes infinity. If the denominator becomes infinity, then the difference of voltage sources becomes 0. If the difference of voltage sources becomes 0, then the voltage sources are same. Common mode becomes common mode signals. That is V2 is equal to V1. Therefore, the potential difference between two terminals is 0 in inverting amplifier. The non-inverting terminal is grounded. That is V2 is 0. Then V1 also becomes 0. Therefore, the point G is nothing but a virtual ground. Here there is no direct connection to the ground and the point G. But here the point virtually act as a ground potential. Why? Because of feedbacking the output voltage through a feedback resistor. Here some fraction of output voltage only feedback to the feedback resistor and added at the point G. The applied voltage and the feedback voltage are same. Then the difference becomes 0. Then at that point G, the point shows the 0 potential. Then that potential act as ground potential. Then that point is act as a ground potential. Then the point G is called finally virtual ground. This is the concept finally we are discussing in this chapter. Okay students, I hope you understand all the topics covered in this operational amplifier. Okay, thank you everyone.